Hey everyone, in today's video we've got an unusual to me Modular Component Systems 3233 receiver. This one came from the V12 sale over a year ago, and when I saw this thing I was surprised. I'd never seen MCS or Modular Component Systems ever. And then I looked it up and it turns out there's like actually info on these, and there were a number of them made, so interesting that I've never seen one, but you know, here we are. I'm told that this one is broken, but let's take a closer look at it real quick. Let's see what this thing is all about. Yes, looking around on the internet, it looks like this was a JCPenney branded receiver back in the day. So, Modular Component Systems 3233. Looks like it's got 33 watts per channel. And we've got a number of switches and lights on here, so that's kind of cool. It does look a little bit like an off-brand Kenwood or Pioneer, so we'll see if the insides reflect that also. But, I mean, check it out. You've got your speaker controls right there. A headphone button and matrix button. That's interesting. I'll have to see what that's all about. You've got 3 tone knobs. That's kind of nice. Nice big volume knob, balance, and then scratch filter. I'm not really sure what that means. You got a tape monitor switch, function switch. Hey, this one's got an aux port. The Kenwood KR5010 didn't have one of those. Okay, let's go to the back of it now. This thing's actually kind of sizable. It's pretty tall and kind of wide too. And back here, very nicely laid out inputs and record outs. Kind of crappy antenna connectors. I always hate seeing those flat heads there, but you know, it is what it is. Then we've got connections for 6 speakers, I guess. You've got rear speakers right here. Looks like you've got protection fuses for your speakers, and then your front speakers. I think we learned our lesson with the KR5010, so let's just kind of look at these fuses right now, real time, and see what are we in for. This one right here is good. I just, you know, looked at it with my eyes instead of through the camera viewfinder. Now let's take a look at this one. I don't see a fuse in there, so that's a problem. I have to find one of those, and then the main fuse. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, that's not nice. That is super messed up. Very gross. Very not correct. So, I think I know what we're in for here. We're probably in for blown outputs, nice bright dim bulb, and all that fun happy stuff. So let's get the fuses replaced, put it on the dim bulb, and watch the light get nice and bright. I'm gonna have to buy more fuses, and hopefully I don't mess this one up and blow it on accident like I did with the Kenwood. Okay, start our pile of bad parts. Now let's plug this in here. I guess I'll do it at the power switch this time. So I'll turn this on first, and then I'm going to turn on the actual receiver. So here we go. What a surprise. What a surprise. Hilarious. Well, now that we know that, I think I'm going to start pulling output transistors. Yeah, we've got ourselves a DC coupled amplifier without a dedicated protection circuit, which I do not like already. So this thing's already on my bad list. Okay. Oh, that's real goofy how they did the outputs. Okay. I gotta show you closer. Okay, so we've got our power supply right here. You see the 2 filter capacitors, which means it's DC coupled, one for positive, one for negative, rail. And then here's our power amplifier board. This is likely where the issue is. We probably have one of these 4 outputs that is toasted, but like, look how dinky this heatsink is. Like, you've got one there, one there, one back there, and then one on the other side here. So they're kind of arranged in this goofy little array. Yeah, just a lot of wires going all over the place in here. I mean, according to what I read, this came out in the late 70s, but this thing is really far behind. This looks like a Marantz 2220. Not the B. This looks antiquated and old for being new. But it does have the Pioneer SX X50 style lighting, so I bet that looks cool when it's actually working. You can see we've got the little blue stuff in there to make the color of the light interesting with the incandescent. And then in here we've got preamplifier, it looks like. And I don't really know what that is there, but we'll find out. Okay, I'm going to start testing the outputs and see if I can find any dead shorts on them and go from there. Okay, so instead of just aimlessly pulling them, I'm going to set this to continuity, see if we get any beeping like that. So go across these. Good, good, good enough. Okay, and do we have any shorts to the collector? No. Okay, so it might not be obvious which one is bad. Well, isn't this fun, folks? We've got 4 supposedly good outputs, and none of them want to test bad. Let's just go ahead and try this again real quick. Now that's interesting, because everything's disconnected in the power amp. That's generally what's going to cause that. So what we need to do is go backwards. And, you know, generally what you should do at the beginning is start at the beginning. You know, the power comes from the wall, it goes into this transformer, then it goes into these diodes, and then it goes to these capacitors to get smoothed out. So if something in that is wrong, nothing's going to work in here. I'm getting what I feel is interesting behavior out of the bridge rectifier diodes on the power supply board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a leg on each one and test them that way, because I don't know if they're supposed to behave how they're behaving in circuit or not, but I have reason to suspect that 2 of them might be shorted. Alright folks, so I just tested the filter capacitors and the bridge rectifier diodes, which are right in here. These guys and the big diodes in there. And they're just fine. They all test just fine. And I turned that back on and it's still lit up real bright, even with the bridge rectifier diodes all with just one leg in, so they're basically disconnected. So that means we might have a transformer failure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the transformer connections. With those disconnected, let's do something nice and dangerous and put power to this and see if it still lights up. Still lights up. Not good. So pretty bad news here. I have desoldered every single secondary, including the center taps from the chassis of the receiver. You can see all the wires just hanging out. And we got a nice bright bulb, folks. So that's bad. That means we likely have a failure inside here. And I don't know if we're going to be able to find a replacement for that. Okay, I pulled it out. And as you can see, we've just got the 2 connections for our primary. If I turn this on, and if I go ahead and turn this on, we see bright bulb. Now, let's cut this wire and see what happens. Now do we get it? Nope. So there. I think we found our problem. We have a fried transformer. So here's the thing. I would normally just call it quits right here and just take this to a recycler, because this is it's not really worth it in my opinion. I don't think this is going to sound that good even when it's all fixed up. But I just went on eBay and somebody is selling an MCS 3233 transformer for 20 bucks. So yeah, I think I'll buy it. I will go ahead and buy that, and then we can compare the two when we get them so we can see what happened. Alright, I'll see you in the future. So I think this is crazy, but you know, there was one of these on eBay. I really didn't think that was going to happen. That is nuts. That's really lucky. So What that means is we've got hope with this thing. I was going to scrap it. I was not going to continue, but now we have a transformer, and now I just want to show you what's going on here. So the way a transformer works is, you got your primary right here. This is where the wall outlet goes in, basically. And then it's twisted around a core, and then it does crazy things. It changes the voltage, and you can have the voltage come out in different amounts based on how many turns are on each secondary turning of the transformer. So looks like this one has 3 different secondaries with center taps on at least 1 or 2 of them. So if I measure the resistance across this secondary right here, and this is the one that went to the power amp basically, you see 0 ohms, and that is really bad. That's really not good. We do not want 0 ohms there. What we want, here's our new transformer, is something like this. Like partial ohm, not 0. I'm hopeful that this one is going to work. So we need to install it in the receiver and see what happens after we do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So I've got the new transformer wired in. You can see I've got it done at the primaries right here. Haven't covered it yet because I want to see if it actually works, And that's all. No touchy. No touch. And we've got it on the dim bulb. The dim bulb is turned on. So let's see what happens when we hit the power switch. Nothing happens, which is exactly what you want to see. I'm sure those are hot right now, so that's why I said no touchy. But yeah, this guy's poo-poo, and that guy is not. So now I'm going to wire the rest of this in and see what happens when we actually turn this on with a working transformer. Okay, transformer is in. I've got the lamp secondaries wired in, but all the lamps are unplugged because they're all burnt out. And then right where the power supply is right there, I've got all the wires redone. It's these white, blue, green, and black ones. And yeah, the primaries are connected with splices and heat shrink. And also I resoldered in those bridge rectifier diodes, which you can see under the wires, and these filter caps both tested okay. So now what I can do is I can plug this back in here to the dim bulb. We are turned off on the receiver. So let's see what happens when we turn this on. Still a bright bulb. That's very interesting. So now I need to figure out why it's still a bright bulb. So one way we can think of this is, we have 3 secondaries, and the direct short is coming from one of the 3 secondaries. I'm pretty sure it's not these lamps because this is where the 2 wires go. You can see this PCB, it's just 2 big old traces. They're not connected. The issue's not there. Now we have these white wires and these blue wires. So I think I'm going to start with disconnecting the blue wires because I just checked all this stuff, and that's what the white wires go to. These blue wires, they go to just like general power for the rest of the unit. So let's see what's going on at the blue wires. If I disconnect them, do I still get a bright bulb? Okay, so we've got the blue wires disconnected. Let's see what happens. Still a bright bulb. What I'll do now is disconnect these white wires. Okay, with both of those secondaries disconnected, what happens? Nothing happens. Let's reconnect the blue wires. Okay, with the blue wires reconnected, still nothing. So I think we know why this puppy failed here, because this was just hooked up to a direct short, and it was probably so much that the fuse didn't catch it in time, and it fried that secondary on that old transformer. So now it's time to figure out why the heck that's happening. There's probably something else that has failed on this thing, and it's not one of the outputs, because all the output transistors are disconnected. So how could that be? For my next trick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the positive and negative DC rails for the power amplifier. That is this red wire and this green wire. You can see this red wire just goes right there to a little thing that says positive, and the green wire ghost little thing that says negative over there. So if I disconnect the power amplifier board from everything, what that'll tell us is if the issue is in the power amplifier board or the power supply. Okay, both legs of the secondary are now connected. Let's see. Okay, that tells us that our issue is definitely in the power supply. That's kind of interesting, huh? Alright, there's only a few things it could even be. I'm going to put the schematic on the screen. Like, this is just classic bridge rectifier for a DC coupled amplifier. You've got the four diodes, the little capacitors going across each diode, and the filter capacitors. Then you see a resistor in there. I tested that. That tests okay. So what I've done here is I've disconnected one leg of each diode in the circuit. So I'm going to see if it lights it up without the diodes. Now that's interesting. That is very interesting. Okay, here's something interesting. I'm measuring across each diode. So like, checking resistance right here. Negative mega ohms, I guess. I don't understand why it would ever say negative. And then over here, again, negative mega ohms. But now let's go across this diode here. Suddenly you've got a nearly direct short. So what could be causing that? I think I'm going to pull each one of those little ceramic capacitors. Okay, those are both pulled now. Let's see if we still have that reading we had. Okay, we don't. Or at least the resistance is going up, for whatever that's worth. What happens? Okay, maybe we have a failed ceramic capacitor, because now we're not getting the bright bulb. I'm going to reconnect one of them. Okay, there's one. Holy crap. Have we found it? Have we done it? If I can get the other one in and there's no bright bulb, I might have found it. Huh. I think we may have found the problem. Let's get this guy fully out. This right here just might be the issue. Oh. Oh man, I should have known. I feel stupid now. Okay, look at this. Look at this capacitor. Let's zoom right in. What's wrong with that capacitor? It looks a little charred, burnt maybe. How did that happen? Who the heck knows? But I'll show you one thing. Let's get our voltmeter on it. We've got it set to resistance. There's and wow. Dead short. Ha. Okay. Dead short and a ceramic capacitor on the power supply. That's what caused all of our problems. And here's the replacement part. I don't have any ceramics, but I do have films. And this film is a 0.01 microfarad, and that's supposed to be a 0.02, so if you connect two in parallel, you got yourself a 0.02 microfarad. So I'm going to go put this in. I'm also going to put all of the bridge rectifier diodes back in place, and I think now we're actually going to have a working receiver. I'll go ahead and connect the power amplifier too, because I'm pretty sure there's no issues there. Alright, here it is. Will this turn on and not light up the dim bulb? Will we get a brief little flash with the charging of the filters? Let's see. Well, I think nothing is a good thing right now. That's for sure. Because before we were definitely getting something, and now we're getting nothing. So that's very good. I guess we can go with the voltmeter now and check for some things. First thing I want to know is if we have positive and negative DC rail from our power amplifier. So the way we check that is we go to some ground point, set it to voltage DC. Is anything actually happening? Yes. Oh my god, yes. Things are happening. We've got positive 33 there, and we should have negative 33 right here. Yeah. No shoot. Wow. It just doesn't take much to charge those little tiny 6800 microfarad capacitors, I guess. So they charged up, and there was stuff. So I'm going to check that again now that I've turned it off. See if the voltage is going down. Slowly, yes it is. So that means what I can do is I can go ahead and reconnect the output transistors, and maybe we'll be able to get sound out of this dang thing. Okay, pull test, wiggle test, wiggle test, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Alright, now what happens? Let's see. Alright, let's check out DC offset at the speaker terminals. We have the speakers set to on, or I guess AB is fine. So let's take a look. We've got reasonable at the left channel and reasonable at the right channel. It is time to hook up speakers. Let's do it. Should have made sure the volume was turned down. Okay. FM muting is off. Would you listen to that? Ooh, balance knob is very dirty. Do you see how that's rotating? Look at how bent that shaft is. It's pretty bad. Okay. Let's take our handy dandy FM antenna and see if we can hear anything.
The road east tire will burn just over 17,000 acres, with containment growing to 26% as of this morning.
Voodoo on entry location. But I just got
Incredible. Well, it really needs cleaned controls. The FM tuning meter is terrible. The signal strength meter does not work.
the White House.
So it could probably use a good FM alignment. Let's play everyone's favorite song. How about that? Very dirty. We seem to have lost the left channel. And that's due to a dirty aux switch. Yeah, it always feels good to see it working after you've kind of gone down a journey like this, per se. And yeah, so I guess this thing ever gonna make sound again. I really thought this was just gonna end up in the bin because I didn't know where I was gonna get one of these. But luckily some seller had it on eBay, and that's awesome. I think I gotta wrap up this video right here because this got kind of long. Next steps for this are gonna be going through it with Deoxit, cleaning it up, and seeing if we can make the little things, like I don't see these lights working. I've got replacement big lamps from dgwojo.com coming, and the tuner. We have to see what's up with that because it's definitely not quite right. So probably won't make a video on that. That's kind of in the weeds, a little boring, but if I do, you'll see it. So that's it for this video. This MCS 3233 is now back to life. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please consider subscribing because there's plenty more like this coming. Okay, I'll see you in the next one.